Welcome! I'm so glad you're joining us for the 2025 Photo Project Planning Party. We are going to spend some time together dreaming big, setting goals, and making plans to achieve them. I'm Kim Zialich, and I'll be your guide through these planning exercises. I'm a professional photo organizer, and I help busy people like you find ways to organize and manage their family photo collections. I've been helping people do this since 2016, so I've learned a few things along the way. Tonight, we're going to follow the process that I use to plan my personal photo projects each year. I do a lot of photo projects in a year, so I use a notebook that I call my photo project journal. I find keeping everything together in one place makes me more productive. I keep lists of my prioritized projects so I remember what projects I want to work on, and I also keep track of which order I want to work on them. I use my journal to keep track as I work through larger projects, so I know exactly where to start again when I've taken a break from the project. I like having everything in that one place. And my very favorite part of the journal is being able to cross off projects as I finish them. I created a printable workbook for the planning party that includes some of the pages I create in my photo project journal. You can keep your workbook as your journal for the year, or copy the information from your workbook into your own notebook after the planning party. I put the link for the workbook in the email that had the link to this video. Go ahead and download and print a copy if you'd like to use it. If you can't print it, you can certainly just make your notes on paper. We are going to work through a series of planning exercises to help you identify, prioritize, and plan your photo projects for the year. I'll introduce a planning exercise, and then you can pause the video so that you have time to work on that exercise. Our first exercise is to create a mind map of all the photo projects that you're interested in doing. A mind map is a document where you can record all your ideas in a free-flowing way. This is where you're going to dream big. Don't hold yourself back by thinking, I don't really know how to do that. Or, I can't get this all done in a year. I want this collection of ideas to be bigger than just this year. I want you to get down on paper all those ideas that you've been carrying around in your head. We'll sort them all out later. For now, I just want you to dream big. Turn to the second page in your workbook, the page with Mind Map at the top. And if you're working on paper, just get a blank sheet of paper. We're going to think about creative projects, organizing projects, connecting through your photos, and learning opportunities. You'll notice these terms are written on the workbook page. If you have blank paper, then please just write them on your page like this. If we group our ideas a little in this first exercise, we can move through the next ones a little quicker. Now I want you to write photo projects in the middle of your page. In the top left quadrant of the page, you are going to write down any creative projects that you'd like to do this year. Think about creating photo books, artwork, cards, gifts, printing your photos on canvases or blankets. If you are interested in creating photo books, write down what kind of photo books you'd like to make. Would you like to make a travel book? For which trip? If you'd like to make photo gifts, make note of who you'd like to make the gift for. If you have organizing projects pop into your head, feel free to note them down on the right-hand side of your page and then come back and focus on this creative corner. Pause the video and write down all the creative projects you're interested in doing with your photos. Great! If you think of more creative ideas as we continue to work on your mind map, come back and add them to your creative corner. Next, we're going to think of photo organizing projects. You'll be writing down any organizing projects you're interested in the top right corner of your mind map. Think about your digital photo collection. All those digital photos and videos that we've collected over the last 20 plus years. What would you like to do with your digital collection? Think about the print photos you have tucked away from that time before digital cameras. What would you like to do with your print photos? Would you like to make digital copies of them? And how about the older media types like slides and film, VHS tapes and camcorder tapes? What would you like to do with those? Would you like to be able to watch those movies on the camcorder tapes on your TV? Is there anything else photo related that you would like to organize? Maybe your albums or software or your photo book collection or your family recipes so that you can create a photo book out of them. Think big and record any ideas on your mind map. Pause the video and write down all the organizing projects you're interested in doing with your photos. Next, we're going to move to the lower left quadrant of your page and think about connections. Here I want you to think about how you want to connect through your photos. This might be a new way for you to think about photo projects, so I'm going to give you lots of ideas. Think about sharing. Who would you like to share your photos with? Is there someone with a milestone birthday or anniversary this year who would appreciate a meaningful photo gift? Would you like to be able to share the old family photos, the ones in the box in the basement, with your sister across the country? Maybe you don't know how to do that yet, but it's something that you'd like to look into. Maybe you'd like to share some of those old family photos with other members of your family so that you can learn more about the photos. Maybe your partner has never seen half the pictures of the kids that you've taken with your phone, and you'd like to be able to share those. One way to think about connecting is to think about sharing your photos. Another way to think about connecting is to think about your family stories. How would you like to share your family stories? How would you like to learn more stories, or collect the stories, or share them with future generations? Maybe you'd like to interview your parents about some of the old family photos. Maybe you'd like to document your family traditions to share with your children. Maybe you'd like to tell the story of an important piece of family memorabilia. You don't need to know exactly how you'll do these projects yet. Just make note of anything to do with your family stories that interests you. And think about how you would like to connect with your photos. Would you like your collection to be searchable so you can search by name or use facial recognition to find photos faster? Would you like to be able to search for specific things using keywords? Would you like to attach the stories to the photos so that they always travel together? Would you like it to be easier to find pictures that are most meaningful to you? If you are having a down day, would you like to be able to quickly access a collection of pictures that makes you feel better? Maybe that makes you feel happy or grateful. Would you like it to be faster to find copies of professional pictures of your family when people ask to see pictures of your kids? Think about how you use your pictures and how you would like to connect with them. Lots of people use their family photos as a jumping off point to learn more about their family history. Maybe you'd like to post some photos on Ancestry.com. Maybe you'd like to email some photos to your uncle and ask him who those people are. Maybe you have some old family photos and you'd like to learn more about the events that are taking place or the people in those photos. Make note of any of these types of projects that interest you. Think about how you'd like to work on your projects. Back in the day, I used to be inspired and get a lot of scrapbooking done at crops and other scrapbooking events. Would you like to work on your projects with friends? Would you like to find an accountability partner to help you move along and get your projects finished? Think about sharing your photos, learning or sharing your family stories, learning or sharing your family history, connecting with others, and how you use your collection as you list the projects in this section. Use this part of the mind map to note any ideas you have about making connections through your photos and stories. Pause the video and write down all the ideas you have about connecting through your photos. Okay, now we're going to move to the bottom right quadrant of your mind map and think about learning. You're going to write down any things that you would like to learn that have to do with your photos. Would you like to learn how to take better pictures? Would you like to learn how to put the movies from your camcorder tapes on your TV? Would you like to learn how to use a family history website? Would you like to learn how to organize your digital photos? Would you like to learn how to make a photo book? Would you like to learn about really old photos and identifying those ones that you have in your collection that are printed on metal? Find out what those things are and when they came from. Make note of anything that you would like to learn related to your photos. Look back at the other parts of your mind map and see if there's anything that you noted in there that you need to learn about to complete those projects. Pause the video and write down all the things that you would like to learn about. Your mind map is a living document. You can return to it at any time and add more ideas and information. I hope you were able to dream big and come up with lots and lots of ideas. In the next exercises, we'll identify the ones for you to focus on this year. In the next exercise, we will begin to prioritize your projects. Turn to the next page in your workbook or get a fresh sheet of paper. Referring back to your mind map, list 25 projects on the project list sheet. Pick the ones you most want to do because these are the projects you're going to prioritize for the year. Don't worry about putting them in any kind of order at this point. Just take a few minutes and pick 25 projects from your mind map and add them to your project list. You can pick some from each section or lean more into a specific group. If you don't have 25 projects, that's fine. Just make a list of the projects that you have. Oh, and if you're working on blank paper, please just leave a bit of a margin on the left-hand side of your list. Pause the video and make your project list. Now you have a list of the projects you're interested in working on. Let's do a little exercise to help you prioritize them. I want you to think about how important each of these projects is to you. Think about how important it is to you personally and also how important it is to work on that project this year. For example, if your sister is turning 50 in August and you wanted to make her a photo book or a slideshow for her birthday, then it's pretty important that you work on those projects this year. If you want to learn how to back up your photos because you're really worried about losing them, then that's a pretty important project for you. I want you to think about how important each project is to you and give it a rating from 1 to 5. On the workbook page, you'll see a circle and 2 boxes beside each entry on your project list. The first box is for you to record that number 1 to 5, indicating how important this project is to you. A 1 is, I'd like to do it, but it's not that important. And 5 is, this project is very important. If you're working on paper, just write down the number beside your project in that left-hand margin. Pause the video and assign your ratings now. Now we're going to rate how excited you are to work on each of these projects. We'll use a scale of 1 to 5 again, where 1 is not very excited and 5 is super excited. Use the second box on your worksheet to record these ratings. If you're working on paper, just write the number beside the other number for each project. Pause the video and assign your excitement ratings now. Okay, next I want you to multiply those numbers together for each project. If you have an importance rating of 4 and an excitement rating of 3, you're going to multiply them together to get 12 for that project. Go ahead and multiply your ratings together and put the total in the circle beside each project. If you're working on paper, just multiply your numbers together, write down your answer, and circle it. Pause the video and go ahead and do your multiplying. Now we're ready to identify your highest priority projects. Look to see which of your projects ranks the highest. If you had a 5 for importance and a 5 for excitement, they're going to multiply together to give this project a score of 25 points, the highest score. Look to see if you have any projects that scored 25 points. We're going to make note of your 6 highest priority projects. If you had only one project that came in at 25 points, copy it to the first position on the next page. If you're working on blank paper, we'll be making a list of the 6 highest priority projects on the next page. List them on a separate page and leave lots of space between them to make notes. Okay, so if you had one high priority project that came in at 25 points, copy it to the first position on the next page. If you had more than one project that scored 25 points, I want you to take a look at them and prioritize them. Looking just at those projects with 25 points, repeat the importance and excitement ratings. Are one or two more important than the others? And of this group, which ones are you most excited to work on? When you've prioritized your group of projects that scored 25 points, copy them over to the next page. Now, if you have not copied over 6 projects yet, then we're going to continue looking for the next highest priority projects. So when you've prioritized the projects with 25 points, then look for the ones that scored 20 points. Those are the ones that scored a 5 and a 4. Repeat the process and add these projects to the next page. Look at them as a group, prioritize them, and then copy them over to fill in the next spaces in that list of 6 projects. Continue to select your projects with the highest number of points and record them on the next page until you've filled in all 6 spaces. Pause the video and copy over your 6 projects. We want to keep our high priority projects to just 6 right now. This doesn't mean you're only going to work on these 6 projects this year. It means these are the 6 that you're going to start the year with. As you finish a project, you're going to have the great satisfaction of crossing it off this list, and then you're going to move your next highest priority project from that list of 25 over onto this high priority list. We just need a way to focus in on a smaller group of projects so that you can make progress and finish them. I like to keep a little list of high priority projects like this because it gives me options. I may be working on a big photo organizing project, and it's a lot of work. It's my highest priority project, but it's going to take me a couple of months to make my way through it. And then suddenly I have a couple of hours free on a Tuesday night. It's not enough time to dig into my big organizing project, but it might be just the right amount of time to pick a few favorite pictures and make a collage to print on a blanket for my brother's birthday. You will want to keep your main focus on that first project, the highest priority project, but keeping these other 5 projects on your list gives you a little bit of flexibility. With our mind map, we dreamed big and came up with a great big list of photo projects. With these last few exercises, we've made a list of 25 projects and prioritized them. And then in selecting the 6 highest priority projects, we're forming our photo goals for the year. Let's take a closer look at your 6 high priority projects and turn them into goals. Looking at your highest priority project, I want you to clearly state what you want to see when you've completed this project. Write it down in the box underneath your project. If your project is to organize your digital photos, you might want to see your entire digital photo collection organized into a set of chronological folders. If your project is to make a photo book, you might want to see a photo book that includes your favorite pictures and stories from your trip to Greece last year. If your project is to learn more of your family stories, maybe you will want to record a collection of stories from your dad that you can share with your children at Christmas this year. Get specific. How will you record this collection of stories? Note whether you're going to write them down in a notebook, or maybe video your dad sharing these stories as you interview him, or maybe you're going to add these stories to the metadata of your photos so your pictures and stories travel together. Clearly stating what you want to see helps you develop a goal for this project. Be as clear and specific as you can, and write down what you want to see when you've completed each of these projects. Pause the video and write down your goals. Goals are great, but we can't achieve them without some sort of plan. On the next page, we'll start making a plan to achieve your first goal. Let's use organizing your photos as an example. Your project was to organize your photos, and your goal is to organize all your digital photos and videos chronologically by the date they were taken and save them in a folder system with folders for each year and decade. Some of the things that you need to do are to find all of your digital photos and bring them to one place. Then you might need to figure out how to organize them chronologically by the date that they were taken. So this might take a little bit of research to see if there's an easy way to do that. You'll need to set up your chronological folder system and move your photos into it. Maybe you'll want to remove any duplicate photos in your collection and clean it up while you're organizing it. Oh, and you want to organize all your videos with your photos too. So you're going to have to find them and figure out how to sort them chronologically as well. You can see how additional steps will come to you as you begin thinking your way through the project. Maybe you want to make a photo book. Specifically, your goal is to make a photo book sharing the best photos and stories from your trip to Greece last year. Some of the things you need to do are to find all the photos from that trip. Maybe you have them on your phone, but your partner also has a lot of photos on their phone. So you need to track down all the photos so that you can pick the best ones to include in your book. Then you need to think about how you want to organize your book. Maybe you'll plan to have 2 pages for each place that you visit. You'll need to select your favorite photos from each place and make note of any stories that you want to share from that place. Oh, and you'll have to pick a publisher and decide on a template for your book, and whether you want a hardcover or a softcover book, and what size book you want to make. The more you start to think about your project, the more ideas you'll have, and you'll begin to think about all the different things that you need to do as you work on this project. Let's start recording some of the things you'll need to do to reach your first goal. Write down your goal at the top of the page titled Goal Number 1 Outline. If you're using blank paper, just get a new sheet and write your first goal at the top. Now start listing all the things that you need to do to achieve that goal. Don't worry about them being in order. Just think about this project and start writing down all the things that you think you're going to need to do. Pause the video and write down all the things you need to do for this first project. Now we're going to look at all the things you wrote down and pick out some milestones. Let's go back to the photo book example we were talking about earlier. I'm going to make a photo book about my trip to Greece last year, and I've listed a whole bunch of things I know I need to do to make this book. Now I'm going to start organizing these things a bit and identify some milestones in my project. One of the most important things I need to do is select my pictures for the book. I can make this a milestone in my project. To get to this milestone, select my pictures for the book, there are really quite a few steps I need to take. They may include: get photos from the trip from my partner. Find my photos from the trip. Put all those trip photos into one folder. Make a list of all the places that we visited in Greece, and pick 3 to 10 photos from each of those places we visited. Pick a photo for the front cover of the book. Pick a photo for the back cover of the book. Pick 3 photos of us leaving on our trip. Maybe some pictures of us planning or packing or at the airport. Oh, screenshot my online plane ticket. Pick 3 photos of us coming home. Maybe at the airport, or a picture out the window of the plane, or hugging the kids when we get home. Identify and scan any memorabilia from the trip that I want to include in my book. Bus passes, ferry schedules, attraction tickets, maps, and so on. Edit all the photos I want to use in the book so that they look their very best. Double check I have a photo illustrating each story I want to share in the book, and double check I have a photo of the highlight of each place that we visited. When I have done these 14 things, I'll have met the milestone of selecting my pictures for the book. Selecting the pictures for your photo book may have sounded like a simple kind of thing at the beginning, but when you break down what you really have to do to select your pictures, it's definitely a milestone step. Go back and look at all the things you wrote down that you need to do for your project. See if you can identify any of those steps as milestones. Put a star beside them or rewrite them at the bottom of the page. Depending on your project, you might have 1 or 2 milestones, or you might have 5 or 6. Pause the video and identify some milestones for your first project. On the last page of your workbook, you're going to lay out the action plan for this first project. Begin by writing your goal at the top. Then, fill in the milestones that you've identified. Under each milestone, you'll record the action items to reach that milestone. If you're working on blank paper, then just get a new sheet of paper, write your goal at the top, and list each milestone with lots of room under each one so that you can record your action items. The action items are the specific things you need to do to achieve that milestone, like the 14 things I identified to reach the milestone of selecting the photos for your photo book. You can start putting things in some order, but be aware that you'll probably still be shifting things around as you work through your plan. For instance, in selecting the photos for the photo book of my trip to Greece, one of the action items in selecting my photos was to double check that I have a photo illustrating each story that I want to share in the book. That makes me realize I need to identify the stories before I can complete this action step for selecting my photos. You'll find you go back and forth quite a bit as you begin writing down the things that you need to do. Pause the video and begin outlining your milestone steps and breaking them down into action items. When you can break down your project into these action items, it becomes very clear what you need to work on. Tackle one action item at a time. If you can't complete your project in one working session, it's easy to note where you finished and what you should do the next time you work on your project. Just pick the next action item in your plan and complete that task. Before you know it, you're reaching your milestones and finishing up your project. Spend a good amount of time identifying what order to do your action items in. If you have a nice clear list, it makes working on your project much faster and easier. Figure it all out in your workbook and then rewrite it onto a nice clean sheet of paper, or better yet, into a photo project notebook where you can keep everything together. Focus on one project at a time and make yourself a roadmap to follow as you work through the project. Do this planning for your first 3 projects to give yourself some options while you're working. Then get to work and start making progress on your highest priority project. As you make your plan, be sure to write it all down. State your goal, identify your milestones, and list the action items required to reach each milestone. Now, as you work through your project, you can check off the action items so you always know where you are, and you can see the progress that you're making. Progress motivates us to continue working. I always keep a page of notes for each project. Write down your questions, thoughts, and additional action items. Make note of where you leave off at the end of a working session so you know exactly where to start the next time you sit down to work. Make note of things you learn so the next time you make a photo book, you'll know that you need to pick your publisher pretty early in the process because that makes all your other decisions so much easier. Your objective should be to finish your photo projects, so make it as easy for yourself as you can. A good plan will ensure you stay on track and make continual progress on your projects. Make time to review your progress and keep yourself motivated. And speaking of making continual progress on your projects, I want you to turn back to the front page of your notebook so we can complete this last exercise. You cannot complete your photo projects if you don't work on them. It's important to book time on your calendar to work on your projects. Select a couple of hours on a weeknight. Perhaps your working time will be from 7 to 9 p.m. every Wednesday evening. Maybe book a couple of hours on Saturday mornings or Sunday evenings to work on your projects. Think of these times as an important appointment you have to keep with yourself. The more consistent you can be with your working time, the better progress you're going to make on your projects. It's time to make a commitment to work on your projects. In the box on the front cover, write, "I commit to working on my projects," and fill in the time you commit to working. When you make working on your photo projects a priority, you'll find that you're going to be finishing them. Pause the video and make this important commitment to yourself. Congratulations! You've started to put together a very solid plan for your highest priority photo projects. You started by dreaming big with your mind map, prioritized your top photo projects based on how important they are to you and how excited you are to work on them. Then you created a goal for your 6 highest priority projects and started building a plan with milestones and action items so that you can see your progress and finish those projects. Most importantly, you made a commitment to yourself to work on your projects, to book time on your calendar, and make your projects a priority. As we wrap up, I'd like to direct you to some resources that might make your planning easier. If you are interested in organizing your digital photos, I have a digital photo organizing roadmap that gives a high-level view of this project. Essentially, it maps out the milestones for you. I also have a digital photo organizing Get Started guide that walks you through the first crucial step in the project. If you're interested in organizing your print photo collection, I have a roadmap and a Get Started guide to get you going on that project too. I've made these available on the resources page of my website. You can hop over there and download a copy for free. As photo organizing projects can be really big and complicated projects, I've created some online courses to help you through the process. The print photo organizing course is live. You can find a link to it over on the website on our courses page. The digital photo organizing course is almost complete and should be live in the next few weeks. Feel free to send me an email and let me know that you want to be on the wait list so that you can find out right away when it becomes available. If you want to make photo books this year, we have a couple of excellent courses for you. I have a step-by-step course for making a photo book. It covers all the steps you need from planning to publishing. If you want to make your very first photo book, I have a second course where we've simplified some of the decision making and we gently guide you through the process so that you can get your first photo book in your hands. Both of these courses are in the Learning Library on our membership site. It's only $12 a month to join our Family Photo Club membership, and you get so much value for that investment. If you're interested in making photo books, I highly recommend you come join the fun and find those step-by-step courses in our membership learning library. There is a page outlining all the great features of the membership over on the website. If you have a lot of photo books that you'd like to make, you can always create a mind map for just your photo books. Write down all the different books that you'd like to make and any notes that you have in mind about them. Often, just getting it all down on paper helps you start to identify and prioritize your projects. We'll be creating a lot of different types of photo books within our membership. We do a monthly project and challenge, as well as hold monthly workshops where we get together to work on our projects together. If you liked the idea of connecting with others to work on your projects, you might enjoy helping us decide what kind of books to make and joining in on our workshops. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I hope you've made progress on your photo project planning and that you have a clear direction to move ahead. Plan your first 3 projects and then get started working on that first high priority one. You'll be able to see your progress and begin crossing projects off your list in no time. I wish you the very best of luck in finishing all of your projects this year. If you enjoyed this workshop, I'd love to know. You can find my email over on the website. Reach out if you have any questions about our courses or the membership, or if you'd like to book some coaching time so I can help you make progress on your projects. Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Enjoy your photo projects this year.